Hello, Jordan. Welcome to our conversation. Thank you for joining. First, I want you to introduce, just tell us who you are and where you're ailing from.
All right, so my name is Jordan Cunningham. I'm I create content online under the username of the Book of the Essence. I like it. It's a very powerful name. And the main focus of me is to share content, I share wisdom, share what I've discovered with a lot of the people who are willing to listen and learn. So that's hyper important right now. And I'm coming from Jamaica, specifically the parish of Hanover. And yes, it's been a fantastic journey just to see how many people have resonated with what I've stated, and glad to be here.
Okay. And Jordan, can you share your educational pathway that gets you to this point in terms of you talk about content creator, and in order to generate content, you have to think and build knowledge around it. So what shapes that pathway for you?
All right, so specifically how I got started. So let me see, I graduated from the Herbert Morrison Technical High School, but
Okay.
when I was 17, I just decided to start to read the Bible. And I really enjoyed reading the Bible. I studied it a lot, and I was learning so much about it. I was like, hey, I wanted to talk about it. So where do you go if you want to talk about stuff? Pick
Mhm.
up your phone and film a video. So I filmed my first video around, I think it was July. I filmed my first video,
Yeah.
and it didn't get any views on on Instagram, but it got a few views on, it got probably around 500 views or so on TikTok, and that was very inspiring, to just see people resonate with what I'm saying. So just from that day forward, it's just been non-stop consistency, and I've seen how it grew in scale. Recently crossed over a million individuals, a million views, 1.1 million views in the last 365 days. So
Oh.
yes, it's been fantastic.
And when you said you attended Herbert Morrison Technical High School, were you is what would say social media
Mm.
literacy, is it taught or is it incorporated in any of the subject matter, or people just catch on for you as a student, it's just become part of your social recreational activity?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Well, actually, it's not taught in Jamaican schools. But what happened was when I was in the eighth grade, I discovered a friend of mine. He showed me how you could create content and upload it on YouTube
Mhm.
as just a normal thing, and it blew my mind to see
Yeah.
that that was possible. So I just started to make content from then. I did it so much. It was like just part. I was I was the young man who would film things. So that was my thing. I was always filming and uploading it. So that's how I got my start, I would say.
Okay. And then it starts from there. So you are on all social media platform, or the major ones like YouTube? Tell us where you are.
So YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Those are the main platforms which I upload content.
And it's the same Book of Essence type of handle.
Yes, the same book at the essence type of angle for all three because it's easy. The YouTube has the long form content where you can see because on the shorts is more cut to grab the audience attention,
Yeah.
but you get the longer form content on YouTube. So that's how. So YouTube's
So
a bit different.
so you created the Kingdom Developmental or Development Institute.
The Kingdom Developers Institute.
Developers
So
Institute. Okay.
yeah, so it's a community, online community, which have founded me and two other friends of mine, Dimitri and also Tyrone. And we've come together. We had the fantastic idea that, hey, in this age, a lot of people are online, right? They're just online scrolling and they're trying to learn stuff. So you see a lot of people who want to go into business, into social media. People are always trying to learn stuff online. So what we've done, we've seen that hey, we can go ahead and create a community where we get mentors, people who are very skilled. Even us, we are specialized in what we do in social media and marketing, and then we go ahead and teach individuals who are willing to learn more about these concepts. So network with other entrepreneurs. Recently, we reached out to we partnered with the founder of Mobile Auto Tech Jamaica, Connie Williams, and he's willing to teach individuals how they can make their first $100,000 using social media.
Great.
So powerful, powerful stuff.
Yes, it sounds that way too. So, so you said it's an online community, so it's not so much that you have a physical location per se.
No, we don't have a physical location because nowadays it's everyone's online. Everyone has a phone. It's just on WhatsApp and Telegram as well. So
Mhm.
it's just using we're using the social media to our advantage to reach as much people as possible.
So walk me through this. I am could be a potential customer. I called you and said, Jordan, I'm interested in creating my TikTok. I want to, these are my ideas. What's your sell to me?
All right. So first of all, we wonder, do you currently have a business idea that you wanted to get started? And if you stated yes, we said, do you have an Instagram page currently or a TikTok page? And most people would be like, oh, yes, they're starting. But here's the interesting part. Would want to find out if you're comfortable making content. A lot of people are not comfortable showing their face, right? So that's the thing. So we have something tailored for if you want to create content where you show a product. We have an Instagram with the mentors. They will teach you how to run an Instagram page, run a business on Instagram where you're not showing the product. However, the easiest part to build trust and build it faster is when you can show your face. So that's where we teach you. So yeah, they're different. So based on the individual and what your comfort level is and how you want to utilize social media to go ahead and make your first 100K.
All right. And do you help design like their web space or
Oh, not necessarily. We'll give advice on how we can go ahead and be structured, like the bio, be more professional. But the graphics and those sort of stuff would be up to the individual and their taste in their business.
okay.
However, for the content creation, we'll tell you what type of content you can create in to reach the audience, right? So we'll give you the guidance on that, help you with scripting if you need help like that, and that's how we work.
So is it like a package? A person as a customer can choose a package and say, okay, this is what I'd want help with. I want you to help me with this idea to build your bio, to build an idea, to frame it a certain way. I mean, what are some of the
All
packages?
right, so it's not necessarily a package, right? So we have the community. The first and foremost is the community. We call it level one, Kingdom Developers Institute level one. So it's an open WhatsApp group where anyone can join, right?
Hmm.
And from there we hold weekly meetings on both Fridays and Sundays where we teach them. One of the mentors will go over a programs. For example, let's say the 100K. He will introduce a concept of how you as an individual, how he has done it made his 100K using social media. So it gives you the framework. And those who are interested to get the mentorship where you're taught step by step how you can replicate those same results, you will then be onboarded. You pay the fee, the entrance fee, and then you'll be able to onboard and get the mentorship to start out. So that's how it works.
That's what I was going to ask you. And you don't have to share your entrance fee because it could be negotiable. If somebody may say, you live in a Jamaican economy where bartering sometimes may be the only way some people can get through. So, but say, for example, they come in and you say, this is a fee for level one, and this is what I want you to do. So, how many sessions are involved in level one then?
All right, level one, we tried our best to just keep it consistently a weekly meeting where we just engage, build trust, share value, and allow everyone to see that things are
Mhm.
possible. So it's not just about even just the program itself, but other aspects. For example, health and wellness. That's another thing that's very important. Most
Right.
people here don't understand dieting too much, don't know what type of food to eat. So we have a health and wellness mentor who goes ahead and teach these type of concepts, what type of food to eat, how the body works, what kind of food to put into your body to get the maximum results and performance. So we try our best to cover all facets of wealth.
Oh, I see.
Help you.
So, Kingdom Developers Institute, it's not just social media, it's health and wellness. And what are some of the other categories?
All right. So far we have finance, social media, and health and wellness.
Mhm.
So and we also will touch on the in the future. Hopefully, we can partner with lawyers or paralegals to in, ed, educate the Jamaican people on the legal frameworks there that most people are missing out on. Right. So that's our future goal.
So you're looking for collaborations or collaborators as well. And so you're putting it's like you're trying to, how do you try to connect though? How would people know how to find you and say, you mentioned that there's one social media agency out there or technology agency that, partner with. How do you look for partnership?
So one of the one of the most fantastic things is that just going through the people who have followed my page,
Hmm.
and just once they resonate with what I do, I just feel free to just reach out to them, and from there on we can just engage. So that's how I met most of the individuals who we work with right now. So
Okay.
just through just people seeing my content, everyone posts everything on their social media, so it's easy to just connect from there.
Okay, so there's a few things that I want to kind of zero back to. So I'm going to start. You mentioned, say, for example, someone is interested in doing, but we know that the equipment to run a social media money generating business is not easy because you have to have the right equipment and so on. Yes, no,
In
um,
in a
camera, that type of
Well,
thing.
it depends on the scale that you want to start because a lot of people what we discover, a lot of people want to be bosses first before they understand business. And
Okay.
that's how most people go broke in the beginning, right? You can utilize what you have. Most people have a good phone. If you have an iPhone, you have a very good quality phone camera. You can
Mhm.
film your content from there. You have tools such as ChatGPT, different AI softwares that you can utilize, Canva, that's an editing software, CapCut. So it's not necessarily about getting some big expensive Canon camera to like film content in 4K, but just understanding the market, understanding the persons you're going to sell to, and utilizing what is at hand to maximize on your return.
So,
And then
correct.
therefore,
Go ahead.
so I would say from the profit where you get from doing it, you can then reinvest into better equipment. So to get started, I wouldn't say you have to get some $500,000 loan to get started.
Right. So here's something. You mentioned some of these software that can be used, but we know that, you can do a 45-day trial with something. Some of these things you have to pay for a subscription. So you do need some funds before you start or, find ways to do it. What are you finding locally in Jamaica? Because a lot of times people in the Jamaican or Caribbean diaspora are always like, how do these young people do these things? I mean, they live in the US and like, I don't even know how to do that, that kind of thing. And so the
Um,
creativity that is coming out of Jamaica is just amazing to us in
yeah,
the diaspora. So, and then we're looking at the economic side of it, where we know financially that things can be very expensive. So even though we're saying yes, you can do it with your cell phone and do all these things, but some of the software that you mentioned, they are not free either. So
true.
how is this happening?
Well, all right. So what our mentor currently, how he mentioned how he got his start to make his first 100K using social media is that he had a credit card from Scotiabank and he just used it to take out, call it to bet on himself. And if you're interested, if there's a Jamaican watching it,
Hmm.
once you're a member of the banks, Scotiabank and NCB, they do offer credit cards.
Hmm.
So if you want to go and you can use it's an investment. It's not like you're using the debt to like waste it to just buy random stuff. You're
Right.
investing in a profitable business where you can generate money to pay off the debt. So one of the easy way you can go about doing it is to get a credit card.
Cool. All right. So that's one step. I want to go back to, you said you enjoy reading the Bible. And
Mm.
I want to make sure I don't miss that piece because you said that was a starting point or foundation for you. How are you're connected? Help me understand why you mentioned that statement.
Oh, I mentioned that because it's very important to know where I even got to start from. So I just during COVID it was a pretty boring time, because you're just locked inside the house. So the Bible was always just there present on my dresser. So I was like one day I just got up and just started to read. No, my aunt, matter of fact, she told me, it was very distressing time. So people were wondering if it was going to be the end of the world. So I was like, all right, it's always there. And she told me to, if you want to get wisdom, Jordan, you must read the book of Proverbs.
Mhm.
And I've always seen myself as a very hyper intellectual young man. So I've decided to go ahead and I'll take her up on the offer. I was home, so I decided to read, and I fell in love with the book from there, and I just continuously read it every day. So yeah,
Okay.
it
So
was.
it's almost that is part of your platform then. It helps, it's a guide, it's a moral compass.
Mm.
It's what is it for your
Oh, the
life?
platform. Oh, as in the book
The
address.
Bible, the Bible.
Oh, the Bible. Well, no, I would say it is a starting point. I wouldn't say it's like the foundation because a lot of the content that I make is around what I've discovered and studied. So I've started studying from the Bible, but I went on to start studying myself more and understanding society. So therefore,
Okay.
I started to share views. That's why a lot of my content now is about things that I'm seeing in society. So
Mhm.
it's more of this. That was the starting point for me. So the origin story.
What seems to okay, so you're a businessman now or entrepreneur, you're creating some moral content in a way. What is it that seems to be pressing on your thoughts about, let's look more at your cohort, your group that
Hmm.
you're part of, that you guys are going to get whole, grow and get whole together in a sense. What are the pressing issues around your cohort? A male, a Jamaican male, African descent, within an economically strapped society. What are some of the concerns that you see?
The biggest concern that I see, honestly, is
Mhm.
the youths of my age group. They're not necessarily focused on building a better nation, for example, building a better Jamaica. So a lot of them have the mindset of like, I want to get rich and left. I want to get rich and go overseas. I don't want to like that kind of in energy, that kind of mindset. So they're not nation builders. They have no, is a lack of patriotism in Jamaica. There's very big lack of it. So that's one of the main pressing issues. The social issues that we're seeing in the society with the bad parenting, for example, men thinking it's normal to just not be there, not be present because that even though it's what the media markets it, the dads, the men having this bunch of woman, bunch of baby mother, that kind of lifestyle. That's what the media markets though. So the younger generation, the younger youths are thinking that is normal. So all these social issues that we're seeing playing out, especially even the finances, same way, like youths believing that it's very, very hard in Jamaica. It is difficult. It has its setback, but it's not so hard as they think to go ahead and create wealth because there's a lot of youths, there's a lot of young people I know who are doing it. They're using social media to make a lot of financial success. So yes, it's possible.
Is social media too much of an easy avenue, venue for, you know, versus other opportunities that your cohort could have ventured into? I mean, as I said, there's so many content creators coming out of Jamaica. And yes, it's good stuff, but you can see one of the biggest thing, I'm going to say, in Jamaica, we say, people are copy that. But what we then on the other side of here, we call it plagiarism. You're plagiarizing each other.
Mm.
Um, do you see a problem with that? Where the overly focus on this new venture, which is content creators versus, which has some may not have the skills to do it, but they're copying each other versus other areas that they could capitalize on. What do you think?
That's a very intelligent point. How I would frame it is that yes, it is a factor. However, if you look at the global market, everything is switching towards content creation. Like we're living in an attention economy, right? So even big businesses are partnering with influencers to drive sales. So it's more of where the money is flowing, the young people are going, right? So they're just they're going there because there's where the money is right now. There's people going live on TikTok who are within a month they can make 300K. So it's like if you're hearing that, like why not go there? Like there's a so it's all about the trend, which is part of the process, but many people it's just where what the economy is shifting towards. So they see it as easier, they see this as a more viable option. And yes, we will always need more doctors, farmers especially, but right now where the current trend is that people are becoming social media influencers, content creators, and they're just I think Jamaica is in that place where a lot of people are seeing that it's possible.
Mhm.
Like back in the day, YouTubers in America, the young people were seeing that that was possible, and now it's taking on its, here in Jamaica. So we're just going through that phase.
Okay. Well, you said it's a phase, so well, I'm going to park that for a moment. But you mentioned, the young people in your cohort. What's your age group, by the way? The age range.
My age range would be, I'll say, 18 to 24. That would be my
Okay.
age range.
And you're saying that they're not a group, nation builders. They're not, the patriotism is not there, and their mind is more, as the song said, they're more foreign minded. They
Mhm.
can't live to jet out and do. But are they
Yeah.
aware? Go ahead.
No, no, I'm agreeing with what you're stating. Like they're more obsessed with the idea of just getting rich and leave. Like
Okay.
that's the obsession, and
Mhm.
that's actually very very terrible for the global country like brain drain. That's very terrible when it
Yes.
comes on to that.
Yes.
So a lot of skilled or entrepreneurial Jamaicans, are like the young people with that mindset. They're thinking like, hey, I need to go in America to make it, or when I get that money, I'm going to go to America. It's just that mindset of brain drain. And even if you look at the political sector of it, like politics is a natural thing in Jamaica. It's necessary, right?
Yes.
But when I talk to every young man, every young person I've ever talked to, they never once told me that they want to be prime minister. They see all the social
Oh,
issues. They see all the social issues, but they'll never say they run for a member of parliament. They never say they want to do that.
yeah.
But they always want to get money.
Yeah. Right. So they're not seeing how the pathway.
Yeah.
To take in order to do that. Their mind is centered on different avenues that not necessarily, as you said, will build up the nation and sustain it in any other way. But let's look at it this way, though. You're coming out of Herbert Morrison. You're saying there are certain things that they may not necessarily provide. It seems as if the curriculum may not be matching the technological, fast-paced environment that we're in. So that can be problematic as well.
Mhm.
But what about, and then on top of that, so it's not just at the micro level, we're saying these groups of individual students or young men are thinking this way. It has to be captured and nourished at the community level, for example. So if nobody's guiding them, Jordan, even though you're self-motivated, you know, and it's probably the foundation that you may have. For example, your aunt says, pick up the Bible and read it, Jordan, do
Mhm.
something. Not all these young men have that type of
Mhm.
stabilization in their life to think that way.
True.
So, what is the community leaders are doing? What is the government in general doing to foster young people to think the way that you're thinking? Like, even create a program like Nation Builders. These are going to be my nation builders. And, you know, kind of what you call it, invest,
Mhm.
pick them out
In
from high
them,
school and invest in them and say, you're going to be the future leaders of Jamaica instead of just
but
leaving people on their own.
Sonia, you brought up a powerful point, right? Like, what are they doing? You see, what are they doing? So I would say that in regards, you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're here. Mhm.
So I would just say that it doesn't exist like the young, especially I can say for young men, like that form of society, like they need nurturing, they need guidance. That's the most important part. They need guidance and structure. So the country, the current leaders, the current government is not focused on growing the youth, the young people. It's just education. They give you the education system, the current system, which is completely outdated. It's Eurocentric. It's completely outdated. They're not teaching the children what they need to know. For example, how can you go to a school? For let's say you just go to high school and now upper six is mandatory. So you go to high school for what, 16 years, and they never once introduced you to the constitution of your country. You have to get this $1 million per year law degree, or a law degree to be taught about the legal system that you're governed in. So
Right.
that's madness. That's madness. So it's not focused on nation builders. Well, they say the school system is not built to create thinkers, but workers. And I think they're doing an excellent job. So it's doing what they made it to do.
Which it's a very sad state. So yes, we want self-motivated young people like yourself, But we know that, everybody's born, you read the story about the master who gave talents to his servants, and two decide to invest it and one decide to bury it. So we may have a group of young men in those categories, right? That have their talent, and out of fear, they don't know how to use it. They don't know how to
Mhm.
utilize it, but someone can inspire them. You could be the inspiration there, but I know it's not easy because there's so much to do, right? There's so much
True.
work to be done. One, you have to start with the mindset. And to change someone's mindset, even at a young age, is very, very difficult. And if you don't have the resources to do that, because you need resources to do that, and that's even, it's like, trying to force the donkey or the horse to drink the water. It's not going to happen. So you
Yeah.
make some excellent point. Now talk about if they're not if talk about the young people, say between grade 9, that would be what age? 15,
15.
right? And then 18, because is it 18 or somewhere 19 that you're finishing school now because of the new mandatory sixth form?
Yeah, I think you're around 19. You're probably 18, 19. I think it's around 19.
Yeah. One of the things that I observe is that there's no work program per se for that cohort. Most people, it's like after you finish high school, that's when you start looking for work. And if you don't have the skills, then between 18, 19, and say 25, you're not marketable unless you're going to force yourself into something. What is happening in your community? What is happening around your school? Do they have some type of lab to develop young people to go in the field and look work? What kind of work program exists aside from heart training program that they have?
Yeah, that's the only one I could think of. But to my knowledge, I can only speak about what I know. I'm not sure there is much work program for the youth. Possibly they maybe, but they're not that popular. But Heart, I would say, does an excellent job at trying to get the youth some in job creation, job placement. So that's for the most part. But currently in the society, in the system that we live, there is not that much. There's a more big demand. This is the issue that I'm seeing. There's a bigger demand for education, right? There's a big demand. Every child must learn. Every child can learn. However, there's not a big demand for entrepreneurship, like helping the people, creating an environment where people can actually be empowered, like they can be empowered to be creative. For
Yeah.
example, I remember when I was just starting out trying to make money online, right?
Mhm.
And dropshipping was very popular at that time. And I scoured the entire internet and I couldn't find a way because the store Shopify, like that's a popular platform that they use. You needed a social security number, and that's one of the biggest setback for me at that time, which was just trying consistently. But every payment gateway, you needed some social security number to get passed. So like being in Jamaica, that can be very, very difficult because you probably have a great idea, but you can't collect payments online. Nowadays, there are a few of them coming in where local like pay, but they're not that popular, so most of the youths don't know about them, right?
Yeah.
And even for our company like pay, you have to have a registered business to be a merchant to use it. So, to get started is kind of hard. So many of the youths, it is still difficult. It's still difficult. So you have to find creative workarounds to still collect payment, but it's pretty difficult. And I hope the government this is my hope that the government can start to invest more in like getting Jamaica's financial sector up to that par where people can start like collecting payments internationally like that. That would be far beneficial for the entrepreneurs, the young entrepreneurs who are just they don't want to go to a 9 to 5 now. They want to test themselves.
Mhm.
They're hungry to test themselves, test their skills, and they want to give themselves a shot. That's one of the hyper important things now.
All right. So you make a key point about that group. What about, I want you to talk about the interaction within your cohort between, in terms of gender, um, you know, boys and girls, young men, young women, in terms of your connection. How does that look like? What are the dynamics that plays out in those type of interactions or relationships? that you consider, you could see it and say, it's a positive pathway, it's a positive thing, there's some positive connections, or you could say, these are some dangerous situations that are occurring, and I wish on a civic through civic engagements that we can teach our young people to do this. Which side would you go with this?
So how would I go? That's kind of difficult 'cause I can't generalize everything because I don't know how everyone's interacting.
Within
But
your
based
community,
on
for example,
my,
just say start with your community.
my community, I see that there. I say this is very positive. I'll call it positive. I'll see the young people there. We're not hearing about violence against women like that. We're not seeing that so much of that in this day and age. So
Okay, good.
um, I think that's a very positive outlook.
Hmm.
For the most part, what I would encourage for both the young men and the young women, I would say that I hope that they can start to look within themselves and develop themselves and work on themselves better.
Hmm.
Because a lot of the issues right now is that a lot of young men they don't know what they want. So they're thinking that a woman will solve them. They're thinking that like they're looking for I said it in one of my videos, they're looking for a secondary mother that they can sleep with, right? Just thinking
Ah,
about yeah, so they're not developed as they don't have that emotional security within themselves. And a woman is seeking that. She's
yeah.
seeking that in the man, right? So if you two individuals who are not fully developed emotionally, if they come together and they have children, there's going to be a wreck, because they're both very emotional. They're not, one is not stable. A woman is naturally more emotional than a man, but if the man is not stable, neither it's going to be a wreck.
So
So
it seems as if then relationship is more of a process where people are just getting together, but they're not understanding themselves before they enter into
that's true.
these connections. Yes?
Yeah, they're not understanding themselves at all. So it's because right now relationships is heavily marketed, right? So through social media, through companies, Valentine's Day, that's all commercialized. So
Yeah.
people are rushing into it. Movies overly portrayed. So you
Hmm.
have young people like teenagers. I remember when I was in high school, you have people going through relationships like they're having exes. You're 13 with an ex. You understand me? Yeah, so everyone is
Exactly.
yeah, everyone is just hyper focused on relationships, right? And then this is the biggest thing. Well, let me tell you, you know what matter of fact, I'll take you back. It is actually problematic. I think it's actually at a negative because every young man that I've spoken to, not every, but I say 80% of the young men that I've spoken to, they
Hmm.
all have the same saying. Woman are wicked, woman this, woman that, right? And that's the mindset that they go around. Why? Because they go into a relationship, just going into it, and it just the woman wasn't fully developed, right? She didn't fully understand herself, and therefore he was expecting probably like a secondary mother from her, and then when she disappointed him, or he disappointed her, then they go around with that trauma and they go into the next relationship and they say, what when we go to them? And then they go probably just cheat just because they want for revenge. And it's just this traumatic cycle where them keep
Yeah.
on perpetuate and they don't spend enough time with themselves, understand who they are, what they want. They don't
Mhm.
spend enough time. So therefore they don't know what they want. So they end up into relationship feeling unfulfilled. Well, how can you fulfill someone that they don't know what they want?
Good, good. Good point. So this, I'm thinking this come into your health and wellness coaching.
I didn't do my content, so I'll probably have to make that. I'll probably have to talk about that. But I say it in my videos before. I say it in
Right,
my videos.
right. And so here's a question. I know you said building content creators is a new, job areas for many, but you need psychologists, you
That's true.
need social workers, you need relationship coaches, you need experts in areas to make all of these things that you're saying happen. One of the things you mentioned earlier is this idea of bad parenting. What does that look like?
Mm.
What do you mean by that? And does this
But
contribute to that cycle of people not, these young people not knowing themselves, thus trying to find their secondary mama in these new relationships?
all right. So, well, I will look at bad parenting. It starts off where, especially in lower economic families, like
Yes.
in those where you can find, there's mostly a single mom or a single dad. They can exist in both places, and because of the intensity of that home, right? So a lot of the parents, they'll take out the anger and their frustration on their children,
Mm-hmm.
right? So let's say, for example, a mom is stressed out, she yell, call the child stupid, idiot, fool. And what does that? A lot of people, they might not get the physical abuse, but the verbal abuse and what that does to a child's psyche.
Mm-hmm.
Even when they make a mistake, even when people, adults make mistake, they call themselves idiots. Where do they get that from? It's a
Yeah,
simple mistake,
it's a
right? So
generational thing. Yeah.
generational thing. And when these individuals now, when it goes on to anything, like for example, if you were to tell a person who, when he's at home, his parents call him idiot, you walk this boy now come out now. If he hears that and you tell him, say, hey, let's go up there and public speak or like talk, like he will feel so nervous. A woman, if she goes into that situation, they start doubting themselves because they start hear the voice of their parents, right? So
Okay.
all these things, it causes so much anxiety, causes them to shy away,
Mm-hmm.
and then these that mindset, it manifests in different areas of their life. So it's just bad parenting. Bad parenting is really
Okay.
powerful.
So I'm gonna go with this, but I also have to be fair to some parents because I don't know, maybe this is what I've seen. It's what I've
Mhm.
seen. Um, the concept of bad parenting is in existence for, for as long as we can know, we know traditionally. And then of course the concept of it is also, it can go from mild to moderate to more severe type of behavior. But what about when we have to look at how children today are
Mhm.
behaving in such a
Oh,
way that seems as if it's out of a horror movie?
mm,
It doesn't matter the amount of investment, the amount of different parenting style to reach their child.
mm,
The only thing left is this frustration and those words that you mentioned. It's as if
mm,
the parent have lost everything in terms of their godliness because they
mm,
pray, nothing is happening, and it's not that they lost their faith. It's just that things are that bad when it
mm.
comes to especially this new cohort, this new generation of children. You must have a backup for that. You must have to explain that. You have to be fair.
All right, that's the you have a powerful point, right? And here, let me tell you, I'm a big supporter of the discipline. I do believe that parents should discipline their children. They have
Mhm,
a right to discipline their child. It's not discipline is very, very different from abuse. It's very, very discipline is very different from abuse. So I'm not saying a parent should take a machete and beat the child, but
mhm,
if the child steps out of alignment, the parent has the right to use their hand or a belt to the degree that they see fit to correct that child and put them back into order.
mhm,
I'm a product of discipline, and I do believe that when I have my children, I will use that right to put them back in order as well. Right? So I do advocate for that. Now when it comes on to the verbal point of view, I understand the frustration, but I do think that it becomes a habit
yeah.
and
Okay.
that becomes a problem.
Mhm,
So sometimes just out of the blue, parents will start to talk like that, and the child become accustomed to that, right?
mhm.
Being called like, and that's where it becomes a problem. So yes, you can be frustrated, but when it becomes a habit, and every single mistake, every single slip up the child do is an
Mhm.
idiot, fool, this and that, then it becomes a problem because that starts to tear at the child.
It becomes
So that's
normalized. So yes, so we're not saying it's justified. We're just trying to, if somebody's watching this video and say, wait a minute, just like the example that I give. So at least we're seeing two sides of this, right? Uh,
yeah.
None of it is justified. And, even for your point on, they'll call it corporal punishment, where, yeah, I'm going to spank my child to whatever degree of it is also problematic. But there is a but, and there's a big one too, where I have seen some things where, especially coming out of Jamaica, for example, some things that have been posted on social media. There was this video recently that was shown where police, I don't know if they're police or truancy officers, had to go to some kind of place, a building, to gather a whole bunch of school students who decide to skip school, but to engage in sex parties. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I was not aware of that at
Yes,
all.
yes. There,
Whoa,
so
I'm
look,
so
we're in the diaspora up here, and anything Jamaican you see,
whoa.
it is circulated. And they were actually handcuffed to each other marching down to whatever they're going to do with them. And so these are some of the things. And also where kids, students in school are being locked out of the school. We've seen that. And we're not saying it's justifiable because people are saying, when you lock them out, where do they go? But these are kids who show up with their pants beneath their butts because Jamaica, which has become, on the world map for a reason because
Mm,
of who we are and our morality. And if that is decaying and parents are losing their mind as a result, then I think you can have some empathy
mm,
where you see, it become really awful. I know, I understand it, but that's why the but is there. And then you have these videos circulating of these young people in their uniform
mm,
engaging in sex acts on buses, on in bathrooms, in classrooms, and doing these outrageous things that it would be shocking.
mm,
Now, Jordan, I understand what you're saying.
mm,
We're not talking about choir boys and choir girls here.
mm.
We're seeing some horrible, horrific things that young people, as you said, who should be enjoying their childhood or their moment, these years, but they are engaging in such adulting behavior that you not in private, but in where it's on a global scene. That if they do get a job and they do a social media check on them, it's going to ruin their life. How do you explain that?
How do I explain that? That's a very good point. And what I would like to say in that regard is that, you see, I think this is bit, I can talk from experience, right? I think that the way we call them children, their minds are very material, and what they're exposed to is that what they practice, right? So if you look at the media, what you hear in all the songs, these songs are played on the buses, these songs are popular on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they glorify: sex, drugs, violence. So when an impressionable mind hears a continuously, right?
Mm-hmm.
What they start to do, try to act it out. Because these are the people they look up to who are speaking about these stuff. So they think that is normal, right? So they're trying to be hype. They think that's not hype, and then they practice it and thinking that's cool. That's what is it now. So first of all, we have to touch on the media. Right? We have to touch on the media, starting to realize that hey, these individuals they must realize the first content that I made, the first clip that I ever made to go viral, right? It's the first. I was talking about that the violence, the heap of violence that we see in the school is a direct correlation to the amount of music that pushes these
Yeah.
violence,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, and a lot of people were disagreeing with me, arguing with me, saying that no, music is a reflection, art's a reflection of society, it's not the trigger. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying no, it amplifies what exists. So the children, I've been to the market before, and I saw like a 6 year old singing the most degrading song, and then they were just everybody, the adults were just laughing and cheering her on. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
in an environment where these type of stuff are being nurtured by the adults, right? When the adults see them doing it, they laugh because their parents see them doing it, laughing. Their parents play this music, so when they go up, they just think that is normal. So it's a product as well of the family. So it's all
Excellent,
boils down.
excellent response. Excellent, excellent point. So you do know. So the problem is a larger societal problem versus say individual. It is, but then we still have to find a responsible area. And
Mm,
it's so okay, we understand children are not, need more um, you know, more positive parenting. But we also understand that parent also needs support as well.
true.
And if government is not doing those things, so what is it? If you have to say something to your prime minister right now, or to your member your of the to the leader of the constituents in your area, what would you say to them, specific about your cohort, about helping the group, or even younger too? But you
All
want
right. So
to capture them early.
the most important thing is to, what I think that needs to be done is, if we want model citizens, right? If we want to model these young men and young women, what we have to do is give them examples of what they need to look like. For example, if a child wants to be an entrepreneur, right? Then let him go ask business owners within the area to go to these schools and like mentor these individuals, not just in the classroom, like sitting down and read from a book. I mean, to go out in the field with them. For example, I learned so much when I went to Hart. I did electrical, right? And the electrical teacher, he gravitated towards me a lot. So went out in the field with him. And there's a lot I learned, not just from what he taught me, not what the words that he communicates, but just observing how he operates, how he handles his business, how he talks to the clients. And
Yeah.
that's very impressive. And I think a lot of these young men and young women, they will learn a lot if they just were in that situation, interacting with the people who are doing the thing. So if you want to have them be upstanding citizens, get them around some upstanding citizens, right? Take them out of the classroom like a factory worker that's just sitting in front of the book and put them out in the field. Let them observe and learn how to behave.
Practical learning versus
Yes,
the textbook
theory.
stuff.
Yeah,
Hmm.
practical. That's my biggest thing I would say.
All right. So probably you need to do a little content area on that and send that message too. All right. So we're almost an hour in, and this you see how fast this time
Yeah,
goes. And I know you're a busy guy, and I don't want to keep it too long. But do you want to continue a few more, or we can wrap it up? Which is it?
definitely. Can if you have a few more questions in mind.
Okay. So I wanted to ask you about, you posted a lot of content, you said, and you're on most of the major social media sites. What are the top five content or subject area that you find generates the most views, the most comments, and that, you can start from the lowest to the highest in terms of five. Give me five of them. What subject areas?
All right. So the one of the big ones is music. Anytime I talk about music, that gets the crowd going. Like
That's
people
number
start
five.
arguing. I would say that's number five. Or yeah. And then the next one would be
Wait,
relationship dynamic.
wait a second. So let's what type of music?
So
Dancehall, reggae, or
dance up, but the effect it has on the people. Anytime I speak about the effect it has on the people, like saying that this contributes to violence, this contributes to the
okay.
promiscuous behavior, it really generates the audience, especially when it talks about how it affects the children. So it really and
What
truly
are they
gets.
saying? What's the feedback?
They're saying like, no, it's not music, it's not like that.
Huh.
Um, Come off of the music, it does a fight against it. This these type of stuff. Yeah, that's how they say, but it's not necessarily like a planned out argument. Like they have the thoughts together. This just ranting. This is rant. But once I talk about it, I always realize the content performs well. It just
How
performs.
many people, what's the most hits you may have gotten on that?
I would say on one post when I first did it, about 35,000 views on the first one. That's the one
Okay.
I can think about on the top of my head.
Okay.
But yeah, usually it averages a good amount of views.
All right. Number four.
So I would say number four. I would put it at the relationships.
Mhm.
Whenever I speak about just relationship dynamics between a man and a woman, like that's overall just gets people fired up. Like they always want to quarrel about it. They always picking sides, men quarreling, women quarreling, vice
Yeah.
versa. So it really boosts engagement. Really boosts engagement.
What are they saying in terms, are they saying that it's men is a problem, or the men saying the woman is a problem, or what?
Yeah. I would say they're blaming each other. They're blaming each other. So for instance, let me see if I can remember the recent one. I made a recent video where I was talking about the marriage. I was talking a lot about marriage. When I speak about marriages, that gets the crowd going. So about taking the assets, like what I said about like receipts. If a man gives his money, gives his baby mother money, he should get a receipt. Now that went strong. A lot of men had a lot of things to say about it. A woman said that I am not signing for $3,000. Like it was very interesting to see how they engage. But I know it sparks a lot of debate and controversy. So I love to see that.
So here's a question, because that's a good one, about the receipts. I really think men should start having a receipt book. Yes,
Exactly.
I agree with that one. So it's because, let me ask you this. So, somebody's gonna say, well, maybe this is old fashioned, but in terms of the dating culture in Jamaica, in during my dating years, it's usually the men that has to pick up all the tabs in those. Is it still happening?
All right. So this is the thing, right? things and times have changed. In I would say that currently
Yeah.
it's done because the men want to do it, but the women, the energy that they come with is that we are equal to men. So it's kind of confusing because here we are equality 50-50, right? But then when the bill comes, it's supposed to be me. But I say it's kind of like it's selective submissiveness. I would say it's very complicated nowadays. So if you want to speak to the woman, you can let them know to pick a side. If they're going to be submissive, they will be submissive. If they're going to be 50-50, they should expect to split half the bill.
So what is happening when say a woman is saying, well, I'm not gonna get you're not gonna get a receipt for $3,000. I know him sometimes in the dating culture. Say, for example, you meet a girl and you take her to a party or whatever. I know it could be church, but somebody say you're gonna be too old-fashioned or too boring. So let's look at the party side.
Yeah.
And she's gonna want, and I know the Jamaican culture is this thing, you're going somewhere, you're gonna need to get your hair done, your nails done, need a new outfit, and the guy maybe have to cover all of that, which can be very expensive. And this person is saying that no, I don't need to give you a receipt for all that I'm gonna cover. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, you see, I was thinking is more directly to the baby mother relationship dynamic, like having a child. But if
Okay.
it's comes on to the dating game, if no, I wouldn't say a receipt would be probably necessary for that unless when you break up you want. Well, that's a tactical decision. When you break up, you want a refund. So I guess you could. I would tell them. I would deploy that strategy.
Okay.
Definitely get the receipt. So
So
yeah.
I don't know if and I hope I'm getting the name correct. There's a professor, I believe, at the University of the West Indies. Her name is Caroline Cooper. Are you familiar with that name?
Not familiar.
She does most of her research has to do with Jamaican music, actually, and on the culture. Yes, Caroline Cooper, Dr. Caroline Cooper. She did this interview one time, and she said this line that I'll never forget. She said, "Most Jamaican men wants to do polygamy on a budget."
Hmm.
I don't know if you understand that.
Interesting.
I think you mentioned polygamy earlier on, where people are not, you didn't even mention the word, but the context of what you said kind of covers that, where you mentioned having multiple relationships probably at the same time. Polygamy is what is in that context, that's what it is, where even if you're not married to the person, but you're having all these multiple baby mothers or having relationships. She's saying that Jamaican men are doing it, trying to do it on a budget.
Hmm.
In other words, they can, that was funny. They can't afford it. And so,
Uh,
is that what's going on with the young men in your cohort?
well, because it's glorified, first of all, right? And even in my content, I mention it. But I do believe with all said and done, that if you're in a financial situation where you can sustain it, you can provide for multiple children, multiple wives, you can do that, go ahead, right? Because guess what? Jamaica has a declining birth rate. Nowadays, from the 1960s, the average woman was having almost 6 children.
Yes.
Now, it's the average woman is having only one.
Wow.
It's a big, big decline.
Hmm.
And I definitely push for, like, multiple wives. I believe that. I believe if a man, I believe if you're a strong man, have a masculine frame, you're a provider, you're competent, you've earned it. I do believe that a woman and women in Jamaica, most of them what? They'll talk about it sharing a man or something like that. So it's like
Jordan, they're gonna beat you up for this.
they're gonna be able to this. I don't think so because when I make the content, I get the views. They see it, they hear what I speak about it. So that's it.
Okay, so now you can do a content on polygamy, how to do polygamy on a budget. It's
On
good.
a budget. That's a powerful idea. I'll take you up on it.
All right, number three.
Number
What's your
three.
number three
I
content?
think I probably I can just give you the top three. So the top one that I've nailed so far, I would say is currently the diaspora, like connecting how sending back money and what is it called again? Generating generational wealth.
Okay.
So the video that I made talking about how the people from the 1960s when they got big, they just left the island and all got independent and start from zero, and they're not coming together as one. That
Mhm.
has been so much traction. I've gotten over 1,700 followers just from that one, just
Wow.
that, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's been crazy, right? So here's the
But
stuff.
what are they saying?
They're just complaining that the Jamaican people, the family at the yard are thief. Them say them thief, then out there. That's
And
why
do
them.
you believe that? Do you understand that?
I, I I believe that currently the issue is that they're very unprofessional in the way how they go about doing it, right? So
You mean
the
the
diaspora,
members of the diaspora or the
yeah,
Jamaican?
the members of the diaspora, they're very unprofessional in the way they go about doing it, right? Because you have to think about it as a business, right? They're thinking about it as just family. So they say, oh, well, I'm just going to send you the money, right? But they're not putting conditions on it. They're not saying, hey, all right, let's make a business
Oh,
contract.
Jordan, wait a second here.
Yes.
Okay, so you're gonna have to do some research on this. This is a
Mhm.
yes, it's gonna be a touchy subject.
Interesting.
Okay, so let me give you another set of story. Just like with those school kids, let me give you another one. Do you know how many members of the diaspora have been tricked where they send money to build
Hmm.
houses in Jamaica? The person who is building the house would send them pictures of the progression of this
Yeah.
house, only to
Hmm.
find out that this is a house that belongs to maybe a Chinese guy down the street. It's not there. Okay, yeah, you're laughing because you heard that
Yeah.
word.
No, but here's the thing. I'm saying that how they're going about it is like they're just send, as you just stated, they're just sending the money. Like they're not being very professional. Like for example, if I was living in America and I wanted to build a house in Jamaica, right? Instead of making this one family member like do it, I'll always control the purse. For example, I'll connect, give me the number for the hardware store. I'll wire the money to them
Oh, oh,
rather
oh,
than
oh, oh
sending
my
all this
goodness.
money.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're
Mhm.
gonna ask you to do more research on that. So listen, there's so many, and there's so many even lawyers, real
Mhm.
estate brokers, who Jamaicans here in the diaspora, Canada, um, even in the Caribbean diaspora, England, in Europe, who have take that approach. And even them, it's even worse in that area. It's even worse. And you should know this too, because if you actually keep track of some of these people who are being sent to prison in Jamaica for money, fraud, for stealing their clients' money, it's for the same reasons. It's really bad. Yeah, so it is a sore spot. And so I would say that you can look into that some more. It is a big sore spot. What should be happening is where the government make it a lot easier, the whole process a lot easier to build your house through financing, whatever it is, from the US to or wherever they are to Jamaica. But that's not the case. If you're not local, you can't do anything. And
Oh,
so
I see
you
that.
have to go through, you cannot trust the hardware guy. You cannot trust your lawyer. You cannot trust the real estate person. You cannot trust your uncle. You cannot trust your sister. You cannot trust anyone. What people have done was simply give up. That's why you see so many abandoned houses in Jamaica.
Mhm.
They simply just give up because it is that painful. And then when they do come locally, then you're reading in the news. This, 65-year-old woman came to Jamaica to find her house that her brother was supposed to be building, and it didn't. And then a fight ensued, and then somebody got killed.
Mhm.
It does happen, Jordan.
Yeah,
It's
it
not the
does. It does.
professional aspect of it. So you're asking Jamaicans to be expert in certain areas when the expertise is missing from the whole process of doing business in Jamaica.
I would say that the government, we could look into that. That could be something where the government could start to step into, probably creating a state-owned company where our state uh,
Yes.
corporation that does it for the people rather than
Yes.
taking out the family. But the thing is, the point that I was trying to get across is building wealth within the family. So that's still the point what we're trying to do. We're trying to create, just like how the Jews have it. just like how the Arabs have it, the Chinese have it. We
Yes,
as Jamaicans need to have it.
agree,
So we
agree.
have to change the culture. Then we have to target the mindset. We have to let the Jamaican people learn that hey, you can't rob your family money. You understand? Because you're
Civic
keeping yourself
education.
back.
Yes, agree, agree. But then you have to look at the different threads that create this mistrust. And as a
That's
result, you'll have the 85-year-old Jamaican man dying in this country and all the money go back to the government because guess what? He's tired of the betrayal
mm.
from their native from from the local Jamaican family members. So it's bigger than you think. So yes, it's gonna touch a nerve in the diaspora.
So
You know,
they really, every second I get a new comment. Every second I get a new comment, honestly.
and
So,
they
but
probably offer you, they're gonna kick your butt when they see you. So, because yeah,
um,
it's a big thing. It is a big thing. It's a big one. So you probably need to do a part two.
yeah, I'm definitely planning to do a part two. I definitely plan to do that. So yeah,
So
but
what? Good.
huh?
So what's number two in terms of the content that generate comments?
Oh, number two, I would say that I'm seeing currently that that would be the top three so far where
Oh,
I'm
okay.
seeing. So it's based on the relationship dynamic, the family wealth, generational wealth,
Hmm.
and I would say music. So
Okay.
those so far when I touch on those issues, whether or not like I have even a sub context of it, like it does always perform very well. So keep doubling down on it and helping the people to come together. So yeah.
Great. What's your final word? What's your takeaway here based on all the things that we've talked about?
What's my takeaway? Huh, that's interesting. My takeaway would be that I would say there's a lot more that the Jamaican people can do, and I really hope that we can become more united,
Yeah.
be more one, because there's a lot of potential, a lot of there's Jamaicans overseas, and we just I look at Jamaica as say if we can work together,
Hmm.
we can just be united. If the people can come together as one, we'll be the most powerful nation on the earth,
Hmm.
and that's one of my biggest goals. So that's why I decided to run for the MP candidate of my
Oh,
constituency,
wow, that's wonderful. What's the constituents?
Eastern Hanover.
Eastern
So it's
Hanover.
with the United Independence Congress. That's the third registered political party in Jamaica.
Hmm.
And yes, they're giving us a fantastic opportunity to get our voice heard, for the local people to come together. And that's one of the most powerful things that I think I can do for the young people of my generation.
Next to the United Political Party, it's who is the other leading political party in that area?
Oh, well, currently it's the JLP, Jamaica Labour Party. So
So
that's
what
the
is it
MP.
that they're not doing, and what are you promising?
What's they're not doing? There's so much. There's just for example, the economic status of the individuals. A lot of people, when I do street interviews now, there are people they complain about poverty, unemployment, right? So apart from the common thing of giving people road or water, that's basic. But people need education. People
Mhm.
are not. People just don't understand. But I've spoken to people who are working, hard working Jamaicans, but they have no clue how to invest in the JSE. That's the Jamaica Stock Exchange,
Yes.
right? So the financial literacy of our country is deplorable,
Okay.
right? And that's for the working class, much less the children who are coming in.
Hmm.
So I just really and truly want to focus on education, making the people get knowledge. Even in the UIC, that's one of the big things, like providing knowledge to the Jamaican people, helping them to learn about their rights. That's why inside the Kingdom Developers Institute, one of the first things we give to you is the access to the constitution of your country. You can read the laws for yourself, get knowledge.
Excellent. And remind, you said UIC, United what? In the
Independence Congress.
in United Independent and you're recognized. Um,
It's a registered political registered political party in Jamaica.
what are your chances of honing that area?
Owning that area is fantastic. It's
What
just
are the
so
chances?
powerful.
What
It's
chances?
I would say I see it as 100% chance.
Oh,
I see
wow.
it as 100, yeah, because like when you look at, I don't want to talk too much about the strategies, but when you just look at the current strategy, the model of the current different parties, the JLP, PMP.
Mhm.
it's the same strategy. They go into the communities, the poorer communities, and they just go and you see them kissing old people and doing all kind of stuff with and that's not right. You know, what's the change? They're not coming to the community with any form of change.
Mhm.
You understand me? You just see them once a year and then they're gone. Right? But when you have people who want to build the nation, we want to unite Jamaica and build a better nation.
Mhm.
And we're going to be there all through the way because we're not coming for votes. We're coming for change.
What's the age to vote? Is it 18 to vote in Jamaica? Yes.
Yeah, 18 once you have
So
the
you're channeling the energy towards young people then.
yeah, young people are the focus. Young people and the working class, right? I want to, and everyone, just everyone overall, because you're all Jamaican. But yes, I really want to connect with the younger people, let them realize that hey, it is possible, and we need more young people who are interested in in being part of politics. Like
Yes.
it's you know they're very old. Like the most of politicians, they're very old. Why?
Mhm. Because
Yeah,
Jamaica like changes. That's why.
that must be the thing.
Okay,
So
excellent,
yeah.
excellent. So what is it that you need then to make it happen? I mean, are you walking, beating the ground, talking to young people, getting them to registered?
So what is necessary would really and truly just things like this, just getting the voice out there. The
Okay.
more we do interviews like this and create content around it and just share it because the power is already with the people. You
Mm-hmm.
see, social issues like social programs, that's what the government's supposed to do. That's why they have the
Yes.
taxpayer dollars, right?
Right.
So to create like a school or something like that, that takes a lot of funding. But that's what the government was supposed to do. So
Mhm.
when we are in power, we are going to utilize the taxpayer dollars the right way. But for now, it just make it allowing the people to know that they have a choice. They have change that is possible, and just going forward from there.
Okay.
So just trying to do get as much exposure as possible.
Well, it sounds like something that is going to be easy for you to do. When I say easy in terms of the mindset, I think you got this down to a T. In terms of funding, hopefully somebody will help you. Whatever it is that you need, when we put the word out and say this is happening for you, and
Yeah,
that
they
the
can go and
Unite the UIC can become part of the regular voting patterns in Jamaica.
yes, and if you want to be a donator to the United Independence Congress, the UIC, go to uicjamaica.com, our
Okay.
website, and you can just donate there because we're funded by the people. So
Who
everyone
is the founder for UIC?
Mr. Joseph Patterson,
Joseph Patterson.
yeah.
So he's a segue from what, PMP or where?
No, he's actually what you would call it, expat. He
Oh,
returned,
okay.
yeah, he came back to Jamaica from Canada,
Hmm.
and he decided to from 2014 he got started with the movement. He got registered in 2019 and is this is would be our first debut for the general election. So
Great.
looking forward.
Well, I hope for a positive outcome. And I hope the diaspora now, through whatever medium that we can, will learn about you and the option that, there's a third choice, I guess, to put you on put you out there and get you elected. And,
That
you
is
start your
it.
nation building project that is so dear to you. Jordan, this has been very interesting that we could talk. You have so much knowledge here. There's so much to share. So we
Yeah.
appreciate it so much that you take the time, and we can only wish you success in all of this. And maybe you could put your Mr. Patterson in touch with us so we could talk about his
Most definitely.
yeah,
Most
it's
definitely.
movement because we didn't know about it. I didn't know about that. There's this
So,
option there that people can come down, travel down, and get to participate in the election and vote for change because
both
that's what it sounds like you guys are offering, right?
are yeah, perfect. Well, it was a pleasure to talk to you. I really appreciate the time and the connection. It was a great energy, great vibes. So I want to have like a fantastic rest of your day, same way.
You
So
too,
yeah, I
Jordan.
really
And
appreciate it.
definitely, definitely. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
All right, take care.